This is Charlie. You can tell he does not like to be loved. So this is Charlie. He's in a place hold, and he will not move until I release him from that. He is scoping out squirrels right now and wanting to run, but he will not do it because he has been trained not to. Charlie, come. Good boy. Charlie is a boxer, pit bull, chow, lab, Staffordshire Terrier, and Siberian Husky mix. He looks like a boxer, but his personality and his greatest DNA strength is a Siberian Husky. He doesn't look anything like a Siberian Husky, but he's very mischievous and pretty sneaky, and so you have to keep an eye on him. He has very strong will, and he needed to be trained by a handler that knew how to work with dogs that have these kinds of personalities, and now he does much better. Hi everyone, Nonnie here. Many of you have asked to be able to meet my husband, and so he very graciously agreed to be part of this process today. This is my husband, Stacy, and I want to share some things with you about him before he begins to share more with you. Stacy served in the Marines. He is an avid runner. He is somebody that really enjoys physical activity of all kinds, biking, kayaking, whitewater rafting, but running is his jam. And so he runs a lot of 10Ks, half marathons, and a few marathons. He is also a hiker. He is an avid hiker, and he has been interested in hiking for a very long time. I'm not going to steal his thunder by giving you more information on that and let him share that with you himself. He also has interest in lots of different things: geography, history, electricity, which absolutely bores me to tears, but you know, it's his jam, and so he really likes it. Anyway, he combines all of those interests, and they found a way to work into his profession, which is as a geographical information specialist, systems specialist analyst. So what would you like to share about yourself before we start asking questions about hiking?
I got interested in backpacking when I was a teenager. I was lucky enough, very lucky enough, to have a wonderful teacher, member of the Sierra Club back in the 80s, and took me in the Smokies, and we went on a winter backpacking trip with I don't know, 10, 15 inches of snow, something like that. My boots froze solid overnight. I couldn't get my feet into them. But he was a wonderful mentor. He gave me confidence throughout the entire hike. Everything was going to be fine. He made it a learning experience and an adventure. And I've taken those things, and I still keep in touch with him. And I'm very grateful to have that relationship. But he planted those seeds, and so I've had those ever since. I got to nourish them in the Marines by being in the field as an infantryman. Some of that was not exactly fun, but it was, the job of a Marine. But the fun parts I took with me when I got out, and I came back home, and my brother went with me, and I got him into backpacking. It really has been a passion. I love it. I love being outside. I love being in that element of nature. I'm very much like Nonnie. I like being on the trail, oftentimes alone. It gives me a lot of time to think and kind of ponder and also observe. We also do hikes together, not necessarily backpacking, but hiking almost every year, multiple places. We hiked down to the Grand Canyon and came back up for a Thanksgiving dinner.
We did. Tell me a little bit more about Mr. Shiraz. I believe that was the name of his teacher that made such an impression on him.
You're correct.
And the reason that I'm pointing this out and asking him to expand on that for just a moment is because we do not realize as individuals, we don't have to be parents, grandparents, cousins, or even in Boy Scouts. I mean, all of that is impressionable, but this was a high school teacher that made an impression on him, and it was a positive experience that planted seeds for him that have lasted to this day. And he is, this is called vintage right here, this little gray part. And so he, So he has enjoyed hiking for a long time, and so I think that you're forever grateful to him for that, right?
Oh yes, very grateful. He for the backpacking, but he also, in the midst of that, I neglected to say, he taught me photography when I was that age, and we're talking film photography. So he helped me learn the ins and outs of a basic 35 millimeter camera and how to compose and take really good pictures. He was a wonderful teacher, and his passion for photography also was contagious to me. I got that from him.
So my point in sharing that with you and asking him to expound on that just a little bit more is for you teachers to know that, you know, students really do pay attention, and you are planting seeds, and they are seeds that sometimes can grow for an entire lifetime.
Absolutely.
I did fail to mention he is an avid photographer. He really, really, that is his jam. He loves it. I have so many pictures in this house of him actually holding a camera, and so they just amuse me and intrigue me no end. So there are a lot of photos like that of him in this house.
I often turn around taking pictures to look back at the car, look at her, and she's got a camera focused on me. And I'm rolling my eyes going, oh my gosh, another picture of me taking a picture.
That's true. Anyway, okay, we'll move it. Yep, that's absolutely true. So when I told you that I wanted to hike the AT and asked you what you thought about it, what was your response?
My response was, I was really curious.
Yeah.
Very curious. And
I think you actually stopped and said, what?
And encouraging.
Mm-hmm. You were.
A little bit envious, because I would have liked to have been out there with you.
Me too.
But 100,000% supportive.
He was, but he had some criteria that he actually requested. He didn't tell me I had to meet it. He was not demanding, but he did have some criteria that he wanted me to meet. And what were those criteria?
I had two things, and I was demanding. I wanted you to do these two things, or else I couldn't get on board with it. That was number one. I wanted you to read and learn about it and get steeped in the knowledge you needed to have. And you did that in spades. You went around the city and interviewed Thru-Hikers and read books and watched videos. You did a great job. And I wanted you to get in shape. Really good, long-term shape. And you did. You executed that wonderfully. So within like 2 months, you got an A+ in both of them. And after that, I was like, my girl's gone.
Okay, and what were your thoughts, or did you have any thoughts about me hiking and being around really mostly men? Because as I shared with you when I first started the trail, and for months, I was the only woman that was on the trail. There weren't any other women that were around. So what were your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts were, first of all, I was really surprised, but it didn't concern me. I have the 100% confidence in you, your ability to handle yourself, your ability to engage with people that you're around, and I didn't see that being a problem whatsoever.
Were you concerned for my safety?
No.
And why were you not?
Because I know that you're a capable woman. I know that you are smart. I know that you're not reckless. You're not careless. You're very methodical. You're very careful. You're very cautious. So for those reasons, I didn't have any concerns for your safety. The only thing that I ever had a concern about on your safety is if you fell, if something happened to you that was none of somebody else's causing. You fell, you broke an arm, you broke a leg, you got hypothermia, something that just the elements caused on you. That was my single concern. That's the reason for the GPS.
Okay. And what were your feelings about me sharing with you that there was such an abundance of drugs on the trail and that I was around people that were not behaving properly and acting out? What was your feedback on that?
My feedback was I was very disappointed. I was disappointed because I didn't want to see anything ruin your good experience. I wanted you to have as best of an experience as you possibly could. And I know you, and I know that that would tarnish greatly your passion and your joy.
Yeah.
And it did.
It did.
I was right. It did. And
It
so
did.
that was a bummer.
It was. It was not good. Mm-mm. That was not good.
So that's my answer.
Okay. All right. Because there are few, at least when I started and I was hiking, there were few, if none, female hikers. That meant that if I was going to hike with somebody, that it was going to be a man. And so, what were your feelings about me doing that, being able to do that, and your trust level and your comfort level be with that?
Because I know you, and I know the kind of people you associate with and you choose to disassociate with, that wasn't a concern of mine. You're a really good judge of character. That was perfectly fine. I was hoping that if that happened, you would find somebody that you really synced with.
Mm-hmm.
And with Jason, you found somebody like that for a while. And with Jersey Redneck and Dob.
Yeah.
Yep, you did. And those were great. I wish you could have stayed with them.
I do. I also wish I could have stayed with them.
So my concern was zero because of you.
Well, that's awesome. And so some of you viewers watch Couch Trail Renee, and there were some individuals that had an issue with her hiking with Walt and made some questionable comments. And I shared that information with my husband, who just shook his head and kind of said, I would have never, ever thought that of you, and I would not want other people thinking that of you either. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I know who I married. I know this person better than any of you all do, so that did not give me any concern.
No.
None at all.
I know who I am, we know who we are, and we trust each other implicitly.
Yeah, that was never an issue.
Right.
Never would have been an issue.
No, not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you have asked me, how does my husband deal with me being gone? And how does that feel for him? You know how I feel because I share it with you often enough. But let's take an opportunity for him to share his thoughts with you on me being away from home.
It has been difficult. I miss her. I miss her every single day. This house is just a humongous structure without her in it. It's not a home. And even though I work from home and I'm very busy, I have new responsibilities that have consumed my time. When that workday is over, it's that loneliness kind of creeps back in, and that absence, her absence, comes rushing back in, and it's there until the next morning. That's been a change that's been a little hard to get used to, but I've managed, and I always remember that it's about her and her joy. And so me missing her is temporary. She's having a good time.
I have such a good support system. He is incredible. I want to share this with you. Often I talk about physical and mental abuse. I speak about verbal abuse and living in situations that were not optimal. And I want to make sure that I clarify here, that's not been with him. We have been together for a very long time. We've been together since 1994. Mm-hmm. We got married in 1996. And he is the person that has taught me how to love unconditionally and filled my heart and my mind with joy. He has been the best support system through all the traumas that have occurred, although some of those traumas were because of him as well, when he was hit by a car. But when he was able to get himself back together, and it took some hard work for him to do that and to survive and thrive, he has been an incredible husband and support system. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that when I am referring to those obstacles, those challenges that I lived through before, they weren't with him. They were before him. Right?
That's right. Except for the one that you talked about with my recovery.
Right.
You just had to be patient with a very stubborn, hard-headed patient.
Well, you know, anybody that's injured is a stubborn, hard-headed patient, so that's okay. Anyway, thank you so much for letting me interview you. I appreciate it, and for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Okay. So thank you all, and you want to do it together?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Take care. We'll see you in the next video.
She will.